Hi pioneers! Welcome to the third session of the convention. This is a Pi speaker session with initially the Pi core team talking about updates and plans for the Pi apps platform and the core team apps, followed by a few videos from third-party developers showcasing their apps and ideas and how they would like to integrate with Pi. In the Pi core team's talk, first, we will give some high-level directions for Pi applications. Second, some product and tech updates and plans on the Pi platform. Third, we will discuss the potential apps that the Pi core team may build or guide building in the hope to hear what pioneers think about these apps. Now I'm going to talk about the importance of utility and direction of Pi applications. Applications of Pi are important to create utility and real value in Pi ecosystem. Applications can be built by the core team or third-party developers. The platform is one of the major strategies of Pi core team to decentralize the development of Pi's ecosystem and leverage the power of our global community to achieve the breadth and scale of traditional economies. For ecosystem building, there are two types of apps. First, apps with economic incentives or a business model for developers. And second, apps without a business model, but essential to the infrastructure and completion of the ecosystem. Now I'm going to talk about type 1 apps with business models. This type of apps mean that they can earn Pi from the business transactions inside their apps. For example, charges of Pi for facilitating a purchase for goods and services, or direct sales in Pi to pioneers. These apps make their own independent product, technology, and business decisions. What features or functionalities to include in the app, how much to charge. What we are looking for in this type of app are those that create real utilities of Pi, boost the usage of Pi, and contribute to the growth of the ecosystem. For example, apps that facilitate selling and purchasing goods and services, marketplaces, service exchange apps, apps that make direct sales of goods and virtual goods, or social applications, applications that charge subscriptions for content or services they provide. For initial apps, we would also consider lightweight apps, meaning that it is simple and easy to understand by most pioneers and have a simple integration mechanism into Pi. For example, fun games with in-app purchases, social apps or meme apps, influence apps, in the realm of being transferable on the internet. While more heavyweight apps will be onboarded into the platform later. Heavyweight apps here refer to apps that, in addition to online exchange of value, also require physical world activities, such as inventories, supply chains, and logistics. The reason for the order falls in line with our interactive design process, where the lightweight applications at first can help us debug any issues and make improvements in the online processes of how platform, apps, and pioneers interact with each other in terms of technical integrations, user experience, and economics, before introducing and compounding these processes with physical world complications or coordinations required by the heavyweight applications. Now I'm going to talk about type 2 apps, ecosystem apps. This type of apps refer to they don't have business models, but are essential to the infrastructure of the Pi ecosystem. The purpose of such apps are to complete inefficiencies, facilitate growth of the ecosystem, and benefit the common good of the network. Such projects can be either developed by a specific third-party developer or led by the community or the core team through open source projects with crowdsourcing from the community. Some of these apps are not necessarily having a business model in Pi and will not or should not be charged for service fees, should be free for the community, such as auditable open source KYC solution. The reward for the contributions to such projects can be community-based through Pi donations from pioneers, bounty programs, or Pi crowdfunding. The core team will continue designing concrete mechanisms with inputs from the community to explore and implement ways to support this type of apps, to surface developers who will lead this type of apps. Due to the nature of the ecosystem apps, such apps, including its functionality, features, and in-app economics, will not only be decided by the leading developer, but will be guided by the PiCore team and community feedback to ensure it satisfies the needs of the ecosystem and are in line with the interests of the community. What is the core team's role in this type of apps? The types of apps mentioned above correlate with the depth of involvement by the core team. For type 1 apps with business model, the core team's involvement will include providing the platform along with its necessary technical support, for example, the SDK, API, and also evaluating and making the decision on whether they will be listed on the Pi platform, and keeping them always in line with Pi's policies and interests of the ecosystem. By contrast, the Type 2 ecosystem apps without business models, in addition to the same things as Type 1 apps, PiCore team's involvement will also include giving advice and guidance, designing mechanisms, and defining policies that incentivize these developers and facilitate such development, and when necessary, even mobilizing the community to support their development. What are the apps to avoid? Of course, in both types of applications, we want to avoid ingenuine apps that try to game the system, or apps that are not compliant with law or Pi's policies. For example, sham apps that do not really facilitate real goods and services transactions, but are in essence a channel for malicious people to scam pioneers for money or data, or speculative people to sell Pi for fiat or other cryptocurrencies, to organize unauthorized exchanges of Pi under the table, or to hoard Pi. These apps we want to avoid. We also want to stay away from any apps that will raise regulatory questions in some regions, for example, gambling apps or casino type of games. The procedure may involve evaluation by the core team, evaluation by the community committees, and continued monitoring and auditing by the larger community. To ensure the compliance of law and Pi's policy, alignment of Pi Network's core values and strategies, and the benefits of the common good of the Pi community and more generally humanity. Next, we will have one of our core developers for the apps platform present tech and product updates and plans for the Pi apps platform.
Hi everyone, this is Lirio from the core team. In this session, I'm going to present the update and the future of the Pi app platform. In the second quarter of 2020, we introduced Pi app platform prototype with its first third-party app, FeverIQ. We had multiple iterations of the prototype to fix bugs, improve scalability and user experience, and finally, we announced the developer SDK and the testing sandbox at the end of May. The Pi SDK allows developers to develop their application in whichever programming language they prefer in their backend and integrate with the Pi platform interface with JavaScript in the frontend. For developers to integrate with Pi, we adopted industry standard technologies such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript so that they can focus more on building applications rather than getting complex technologies to work. Pi third-party apps will initially be hitting Pi's backend so that they can iterate on their app design and establish their use cases and audiences. Once they are ready and the blockchain becomes live, their backend will be able to adapt to hit the Pi testnet or mainnet directly, eventually achieving decentralization. This makes sure that the development of utility and decentralization are in parallel rather than in sequence. In Q3, we hope that developers would be able to play with the release SDK and sandbox and explore what could be built on Pi. We will see a few examples later in the developers demos after the core team talk. The next step for Pi platform is to increase its functionalities for third-party developers to develop fully functional apps with ability to provide better user experience while improving scalability and the security of the overall Pi system in relation to the Pi platform and the protection of user privacy. First, we would like to provide SDK endpoint for developers to take advantage of the scalable database backend of Pi network. We will build the user state object in our SDK for third-party apps to provide continued user experience. For instance, the ability for a user to continue what they left off from previous visit. This is indeed important for almost all apps. Providing this endpoint means that developers will be able to store data for each of their users directly onto the Pi backend, without needing to set up their own server or store the data in the front end. While more complex apps will still require their own backend, this SDK functionality will enable a plethora of simple apps to work without worrying about the servers. Second, the platform will be able to allow authentication into using third-party apps without sharing the Pi username. In the current version of the platform, the access and use of third-party apps rely on the user's willingness to share their Pi username. Even though the choice to share or not is completely in the hand of the user, not sharing the Pi username would mean inability to use the specific third-party app. The next version of the platform would like to make the authentication to use third-party apps more flexible to provide better control and protection of user privacy while maintaining their ability to use the third-party apps. Eventually, the platform will enable third-party apps to request specific information about the user and allow the user to accept or refuse each of them. The platform wants to provide more functionalities and accessibility for third-party apps to tap into the infrastructure of the Pi system and Pi community. For example, the ability for third-party apps to create their own Pi chat room through the SDK to interact with their users. We will allow developers to generate custom links that would take the user directly into the developer's intended place inside of the third-party apps, a process called deep linking. This way, they will be able to invite new users to the app directly without having to go through the general workflow of the Pi app first. It will also enable experiences where one user can interact with another one seamlessly. For instance, in a round-based game, a user gets a link that navigates them directly into the interface of the game where they need to make a move. Or a marketplace, a user can go directly check one specific item. Finally, the platform will also gradually release more functionalities to the developers to integrate with the Pi currency. In the current version, developers can request payment from Pioneer. Later version will provide the ability for the developers to pay the Pioneer, completing the loop of bidirectional payment between app developers and pioneers. As we discussed in the Pi Phase 2 strategy announcement in March 2020, we will first focus on enabling third-party apps inside of the Pi app itself, before enabling a Pi payment for completely external apps. Technically, this means that the availability of specific API endpoint will tailor to the need of in-app third-party apps based on reasons such as efficiency and security, rather than enabling external applications to be able to run Pi payment, which will come further down the line though. Thus, the API endpoint that we will make available next will be able to validate payment to the app developer and to provide privacy control between a pioneer and an app. Thanks for watching.
Hi Pioneers! This talk is about core team initiated apps. Pi core team will develop and improve certain apps or guide a few ecosystem apps to experiment and create Pi utility, and to build the ecosystem and organize the community. introduce a few apps that the core team is considering improving and building ourselves or guiding ecosystem third-party developers to build, pending community input for us to prioritize. We'd like to hear what pioneers think about these apps after watching this session, so we can decide how we will spend our time and resources next. Please express your thoughts in the topic on the home screen. Keep in mind that the core team's Phase 2 mission is to achieve value creation through utility and decentralization while growing the community and building the ecosystem. Now I'm going to talk about the apps we want to improve and build. Pi Chat has been the oldest and most used app inside Pi. This is the place where Pi community's global conversations are held, where old pioneers discuss Pi and socialize, and where new pioneers are helped by other peers when they get to know Pi. Over the past few months, we have added a new add-on feature, Topics, to facilitate forum-like theme-based discussions. Next, we'd like to improve Pi Chats, including better moderation features, overall organization, visibility, better spam control system either automatically or crowdsourced. The core team has been considering and exploring mechanisms to integrate the usage of Pi inside Pi Chats for spam and troll controls, and also for achieving more constructive conversations. If such experiments are successful, not only would it help experiment with the Pi utility, but it also benefits the community because pioneers will enjoy the chat rooms more and more community activities can be organized through the Pi Chats. The next app we are considering building is called Home Screen Social Media Channel. So far, the Pi's app's home screen has been used only by the core team to make announcements and organize community activities. In a sense, the core team has been the only content creator on the home screen. However, we have plans to slowly open up the home screen channel for more content creators other than the core team itself to broadcast their content. For example, the home screen channel can be initially opened up to content created by chat moderators, who may provide bite-sized educational content about Pi for the community to address pioneers' questions in addition to answering them in the chats. Next, it can be open to maybe good content creators on the internet, even outside Pi network, influencers on YouTube or Instagram, to bring more interesting content for pioneers inside the app, and to experiment with Pi utility. The type of content can expand from initially only about Pi to more general good content. Of course, the core team expects to integrate certain use of Pi to curate the content and organize non-core team creators' access to the home screen channel that reaches millions of pioneers. This is not only part of the Pi utility experiment, but also attempts to innovate how quality content can be achieved and consumed in social media. Inside the core team, we call this idea a scarce social media channel, as opposed to the currently abundant millions of social media channels where everyone can be a host. On Instagram, YouTube, for example. Such abundance of channels also creates a low signal-to-noise ratio, information overload, and information signals caused by the machine learning algorithm curation. The Pi scarce social media channel tries to solve such problems of social media by providing high signal content through the moderation of a token mechanism and human curation. Now I'm going to talk about a couple of apps we want to guide. First is crowdsourcing-based translation app. As pioneers are from almost every corner of the world, the fact that our app is only in English has been an impeding factor for our users to understand the Pi vision, mission, or generally how the app works, and difficult for our existing users to explain to potential new users. The translation of the app into different languages has been something that the community has been asking for, and we want to build it. while the core team can build the translations of the app in a centralized way. The core team would also like to see or guide third-party ecosystem developers to create a translation crowdsourcing app. The crowdsourcing-based translation app will allow us to decentralize the burden of translation to an unlimited number of languages in the world, and also provides agility on an ongoing basis when new updates or interfaces are deployed to the app. This translation app will receive voluntary translations of all texts of the Pi app, including app actions, instructions, or announcement content. It will also need to institute a mechanism for evaluation, selection, and validation by other peer pioneers to ensure the accuracy of the translation in the specific language. Then it automatically plugs into the backend of the Pi app so that phones with the specific language setting can display our app in that language. This app will be primarily an ecosystem app for the benefits of the community. The second community app ecosystem app we want to guide is Community Kyc Solutions. Pi has a strict policy of one account per person. This requires a high degree of accuracy to establish that members in the network are genuine human beings. In order to prevent individuals being able to hoard Pi through creating fake accounts unfairly, so KYC is an important and necessary procedure inside our ecosystem. Current Pi KYC is conducted by a third-party KYC provider. However, as mentioned multiple times, the ultimate goal is to enable every pioneer in the network to pass KYC or prove their humanness eventually for the mainnet. Due to cost, coverage, accessibility by pioneers in different regions, we hope to develop a decentralized, reliable, low to no-cost KYC process customized for the Pi community. We hope this project to be a core team guided and community-sourced project because all pioneers care about how KYC is conducted, and also because third-party developers from different regions may be more aware of different regional challenges or issues in the KYC process. The core team will lead the project but welcome pioneers and developers who are interested in solving this problem generally or specifically for a different region to contribute ideas and engineering time. If the project is community sourced, the code of the KYC project needs to be open source so that it is publicly auditable. We have received many KYC proposals from the community. This project hopes to gather such community enthusiasts and more to develop our community KYC solution together. One of such KYC proposals from community members will be demonstrated following this core team talk. These are the apps that the core team have been considering improving, building, and guiding, and we want to hear what you think. Later in this session are talks by third-party developers. Through the convention developer speaker applications, we received many application submissions and surfaced a few interesting ideas and thoughts by pioneers about potential apps on the platform. We selected a few of such developers who were able to articulate their apps and idea and present the demo in a video to showcase here. The later presentations also include an update from our first third-party app, FeverIQ, about what pioneers' contributions to their app has turned into. There is a disclaimer. Selection of the apps to be presented at the convention does not mean the acceptance of the app to be deployed on the platform. The selection of the apps to be deployed on Pi platform will be a separate process later. The convention is meant to foster discussions and further inspire innovations. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alan Chu, co-founder and CEO of Anya.ai, the team that built FeverIQ. It's great to see all of you here at the very first Pi convention. FeverIQ is the first app to deploy on the Pi platform. When we first launched FeverIQ on Pi, we hope to collaborate with you, the Pi community, to fight COVID together. You will share with us your COVID symptoms, and we would use our secure computation technology to protect your privacy while generating insights to help scientists better understand the pandemic. Since then, we've been truly humbled by your enthusiasm and generosity. More than 4.5 million of you have participated in FeverIQ, making it the largest secure computation network for healthcare in the world. Many of you went beyond reporting symptoms and donated to the reward pool as well. Thanks to you, anyone in the world can now screen for COVID more accurately than just taking the temperature or using a static checklist. The FeverIQ COVID risk calculator performs as much as 2.7 times better than the alternatives, and it is freely available to everyone. Businesses and schools can now use this calculator for free to help keep the staff and students safe. Now let's hear from our co-founder and Stanford bioengineering professor, Jan Lappart, as well.
Hi, my name is Jan Lappart. I'm a professor at Stanford. I've taught classes with Nicholas, and I've been working with Alan and everyone else at Enya to build technologies for securely computing on sensitive data. If you've used the FeverIQ app on Pi, you've been one of several million people who have contributed data and test results to this global scientific effort. What all of us have been able to demonstrate working together is that it's possible to securely compute on sensitive data and use this information for science without jeopardizing your privacy. The next steps for us are to test the technology in a hospital. And just last week, Stanford Hospital has started to test a risk calculator based on your data for use in the ER. So when you visit Stanford Hospital, when you visit the ER, then you can fill out a risk estimator, and then we can use this to evaluate how good the predictive power is of classifiers we've built on the FeverIQ data. Another thing we did last week is to release a paper to the medRxiv preprint server describing some of the things we've learned, and also acknowledging you, the pioneers, for their intrepid and generous contributions to this effort. So thank you to everyone here, to the millions of people here from 91 different countries who have contributed to this effort, which is the world's first and largest deployment of secure multi-party computation. Thank you.
Finally, we would like to thank the Pi team for jumping into the deep end with us to make this possible. They pulled out all the stops through many sleepless nights to scale the platform as usage ramped up, and have proven themselves to be the most trusted development partner anyone could wish for. We look forward to many more collaborations together. Thank you once again. And please drop us a note to say hi and share with us what would you like us to build next. Our email is hello@enya.ai. Thank you.
My name is Larry. I'm a web developer from the United States. I also mine Pi. My username is Larry W. And I am the developer working on what potentially will be a Pi app in the Pi app network marketplace. And I've called my presentation Adventures in Building Utility because that's what I'm attempting to do, is build a utility on what will be the Pi network. Here is what I want to talk about today. I'm going to start out by discussing the Pi stack and Pi apps role. Then I plan to give a brief introduction to TaskBounties. After that, I want to dive into the internals a little bit about what the app is built on, and then quick demo. And after that, finally, I'd like to discuss how potentially my app would leverage what will be the Pi network. If you read through the white paper, this particular image stands out. I think it's a really good image. And there's a big explanation around it. And what I'd like to touch on, though, is the green rectangle up top is what we're doing. We have our security circles right now, and it's people that we trust. And potentially, hopefully, once the Pi network is live and we've reached phase 3 and we've built out the blockchain, you're going to have these trust circles, and everybody else will have trust circles, and there'll be this huge network of people, and you'll be able to easily come to consensus on transactions, because of the fact that you'll have just this huge network mesh of people that trust each other. So the fact that you trust each other, it will be very easy to build consensus and validate transactions, and that's the basis of what the blockchain does. So the fact that you have that lends itself to having so many good things, and one of those things is you could have this huge marketplace of apps, and that's what I'm going to talk about today, is the decentralized applications, more specifically the application that I'm working on. So that's where this app would potentially sit, is in the decentralized application marketplace. And as I said earlier, the name of my app is TaskBounties. And what the idea behind TaskBounties is that would facilitate micro tasks, where individuals that have various skills could put themselves out there, and people that need help with various things could advertise or solicit those people. So you have the option of looking for, if you're a person that wants to do these micro tasks, you can look for people that need help, or you could create the fact that you're out there and you can do these types of micro tasks. So someone that's looking for someone to that needs help could, the opposite way, could look for people that do micro tasks, or they could put something out there that says, I need help with this, and advertise and whatnot. And if those of us, or people that are familiar with how these Pi apps are going to work, understand that when the core team announced the apps, they said they're going to be built, the people that build the apps, it's just going to be a lot of technologies that are already out there. So the app that I'm building, it's good old-fashioned HTML, JavaScript, CSS, which the basics of the web. So basically what it is it's a web app, and I utilize .NET, ASP.NET in the middle, the framework, and on the front end, I'm using Vue, so that's kind of it's a JavaScript framework that is very popular right now. So I use that framework on the front end, and then I utilize something called Beautify, which is built with Vue to give, Beautify utilizes Vue to have the front end look, or the interface look like material design. So it kind of has that appish type of feel. So it's something familiar with when people that are using apps interact with a web app. So it kind of gives it an appish type of feel to it. So that's kind of a summary of the frameworks that I'm using to put together this app. And what I'd like to do is kind of go through a short demo of how the app works, and I'm going to what I'm going to do is I'm going to first off show you the app. Right, so this is the app. Now, what it is, this is the sandbox that the Pi Network team had kind of put together for us to test our apps and kind of be able to run through and have them see how they would look and function in what will be the Pi network. So this is TaskBounties, and this would be ideally what you would see when you came to the app, is kind of a brief summary list of, you can see some people that are looking for help and people that are looking for work. Alright, so it's kind of basics, and you have your menu up top. It's a home, obviously mail. This would be the user if you are signed in. So let's go through quickly a couple of workflows here. What I'd like to do. First off, let's do a workflow of actually creating a task. Okay, so if you would like to create a task, what you would do is you hit this plus button here that indicates that you want to add one of these items to the screen. So right now, creating a task is, I would be a person that I would be looking for help, right? So I say I'm looking for help, right? So there you go. That there, and so this would be something that I would need, is I'm gonna potentially need help with a graphic design, right? Because I'm not a graphic designer. So kind of a short description is that I'm gonna for someone to help me create a logo for my Pi app. Description. This is an optional item. Is that instructions to complete? Potentially, you could have a start date and an end date if you'd like. I'm going to say I need one person. Amount. Right. It's going to be a set payment. Like, we can make make it more local here, you can put a list of countries, regions, and cities, kind of an area of cities. And in this case, I'm going to say that an application is required. I'd like to, I can hide my profile username. Submit. And there you go. And, you know, it's under review, and that's kind of a, you know, just a kind of a little bit of a summary, kind of a screen there that a user would have. Okay. Now, it's another workflow then. You would come back and maybe someone that would be applying for your task, right? So, now I'm going to pretend that this particular task was approved, okay? So, I'm someone, I'm gonna actually apply for my own, task that I created, so not likely, but you know, this is a demo, of course. So this you come here, right, and you're signed in, and okay, and I'll apply. Okay. So popular applications here, you would answer that question. Okay. And there you go. And submit your application. There we go. And that's pretty much, you know, it. You know, some of these, I mean, you're going to be able to communicate potentially, and you get, you know, get your alerts and everything like that. When, you know, so that is the basics of how the app would work. Now, there are many ways which something like this could potentially leverage the Pi network. I'm kind of thinking of the fact that there are so many people out there that you could potentially, everybody has a skill, you could kind of form I guess what you'd call them, you know, groups of people that would, everybody has a different skill, and you could come together and market yourselves together as far as like being able to do certain tasks, or I mean, we could, you know, use it to somehow reach people outside of the Pi network, to kind of like, you know, it would be like, you know, you know, together, the people that are pioneers, or, you know, I guess people that are in the Pi network could seek each other out, and you would be able to form these groups, and you'd be able to get together, and you would be able to market yourself outside of the Pi network in that manner. You know, there's just a whole host of things that would be potentially benefit, and you can, you know, leverage what we have here with this particular app. So right now it's kind of just kind of what I am working on, and my hope is that I can continue working on it as something that whatever type of governance we have, it gets validated and I'm able to put it out there on the Pi network in the future. So that's kind of a summary of what I'm working on, and hopefully it's been something that just listening to this and has been beneficial to all of you, and thank you for lending me your time.
Hello, Pioneers!
I'm Asina.
And I'm Sally H.
Enable Pi to have economic and ecological value. Construct PayPi third-party shopping mall. Vision of PayPi Mall. First, through the PayPi third-party mall, Pi is gradually circulated, acting as a medium for various barter transactions and service transactions, establishing a Pi economic ecosystem and giving value to Pi. Second, the more pioneers know that Pi is valuable, so as to influence people around pioneers, the more people accept Pi, participate in ecological construction of Pi, and make Pi part of life. Third, make PayPi third-party mall a comprehensive shopping platform of Pi ecosystem and an important support for Pi value. Features of PayPi Mall. First, all products only support Pi currency payment. At present, PayPi Mall only supports Pi currency payment for all products, which is a pure third-party shopping mall on Pi platform. Second, support 7 working languages around the world. Pioneers from different countries can switch to their own language pages for shopping, which will be more friendly to pioneers from different parts of the world. Now it supports English, French, German, Spanish, Italian, and Chinese, and will gradually support more languages in the future. Third, global order, global delivery. Pioneers anywhere can place orders directly at PayPi Mall, which supports global delivery. Fourth, establish a product promotion area for a long time. The website has a special promotion page, which will be promoted regularly. Some products can be exchanged with only 1 Pi coin. Fifth, cross-border payment without borders. Pioneers in different regions pay in Pi currency, which solves the problem of cross-border exchange of traditional currencies. Sixth, realize decentralized shopping mall in the future. With the development of Pi network, the future shopping mall will be decentralized and become a real blockchain shopping mall, building ecological system and improving Pi value. The business process of PayPi Mall. PayPi Mall is positioned as a professional B2C online shopping platform in Pi ecosystem. PayPi Mall will organize products through independent design, procurement, and production through industrial chain resources, and operate commodities independently. At the same time, we extensively contact the merchants who are willing to accept Pi coins, and integrate the high-quality and low-price product into the ERP system of the mall through consignment and data sharing. In this way, the goods in the ERP system of the mall will be greatly and rapidly enriched. When pioneers find the intended goods in the mall page and pay for the purchase with Pi currency, our EIP system will transmit the buyer's order information to the merchants. and the merchants will give priority to the delivery to the pioneers after receiving the detailed order information. PayPi Mall will pay Pi coins to merchants only after pioneers receive the goods and confirms the quantity and quality of the goods, which is complete transaction. When Pioneer encounters problems, Pioneer can directly contact PayPi Mall for after-sales service, or direct negotiate with merchants for after-sales problems until Pioneer is satisfied.
This product is part of PayPi Mall, and the product line is still being perfected. The team of PayPi Mall. The core team members have more than 10 years of experience in e-commerce industry. The market members of the team have long-term authorized cooperation business with international IP brands, such as Disney and Barbie, and they have abundant market and channel resources. The technical members of the team have worked in Yahoo, Sina, and other enterprise operations as senior engineers, and have excellent technical thinking and architecture design experience. The operating members of the team have unique and effective insights and management methods and product design, logistics, and other fields. Culture of PayPi Mall. First, everyone is a drop of water, and only when they are integrated into big rivers, they can have strength. Second, no matter how beautiful the water drops are, they should know how to integrate into the collective, and only solidarity and cooperation will shine brighter. Third, there is an old Chinese saying, dripping water wears away stones, which means that only our meeting in force can achieve goals. At present, PayPi Mall is still being optimized, and its product line is constantly being improved. Thanks for watching.
Hi everyone, my name is FeverIQ. I am the founder of LiteMint, a game platform that also uses the blockchain as technology to empower users in purchases and game asset tokenization. Today I'm going to show you the set of game that we are going to push on the Pi network, and we are going to instrument this game with the Pi technology, the Pi token, in order to power the in-app purchases in the game. So Code basically is your traditional puzzle game, match 3 puzzle game. You pass levels by matching, by clearing the screen. And then as you can see here, you have boosters that you can use to help you pass through the levels when they get a little bit harder. And you can use a shop to acquire those boosters, and you will be connected to the Pi network in order to use your Pi tokens to unlock those boosters. Jelly Slice is a very nice puzzle game. It's a bit more brainy than your typical match 3 puzzle game. A little bit less forgiving as well if you make some mistakes in the game. It's a game that has won an industry award at the Tizen App Challenge with Samsung and the Linux Foundation. So the goal is to slice a jelly so that there's only 1 star left on each slice. So obviously the first levels are very easy. Then after you need to be a little bit more creative in order to, because you have a limited number of slices. For example, here we have 2 moves, and then you need to separate all the jellies. First levels are to teach you how to do it, and then at the later levels obviously becomes a lot more tricky. You need to find the perfect way to slice that jelly in order to separate those. Like for example, this one is a little bit more complicated now. And same, in order to progress in the game, sometimes you may be stuck, you can call a hint, and you have a limited number of hints in the game, so you can use the shop in order to acquire additional hints to progress if you get stuck. There's a lot of levels, there's 120 levels in total in that game, and yeah, I think it's very interesting, very brainy, good exercise for the brain. Yeah, so Pebble Boy is another match-3 puzzle game. The match is created by removing one of the birds in the middle, and then if 3 colors matching, then you've got this cascade of birds freeing each other. And then also what you have here is the number of stones to complete the levels, or to achieve the amount of points that is needed. So you need to complete this bar, and then you have a certain right. So level 1 is very easy, and then after, yes, you have a limited number of stones, and then each time you use 1 stone, then it gives you points, so you can progress here, and then you can collect 3 stars. You also have boosters in that game, so later on when you get stuck, you can also use boosters. For example, you can have double shots that will throw 2 stones instead of 1. You have other boosters that give you specific abilities in order to complete the levels. So yeah, I hope that you enjoy all these games that are going to be pushed on the platform. I really hope that you are going to play them, and then thank you very much for listening, and then I hope to see you.
Hello, this is Mad Max. I'm play safety and blockchain expert from Zagreb, Croatia. In today's video, I'm gonna present a decentralized play safety application that will run natively inside your Pi apps platform. I live in Zagreb, which is a city populated with 1 million people and with around 1,000 children and sport play areas. There is no public register of playgrounds in Croatia or Zagreb regarding the location, condition, or safety conditions. Conditions are very different from playground to playground. Many playgrounds are not safe, judged by EN 1176 standard compliance. We have around 4 million people, and we don't know exact number of playgrounds in the whole Croatia. There is also no public register of injuries on playgrounds. There are some statistics from local hospitals that claim that around 2,500 children seek hospital emergency each year because of injuries during play on public playgrounds. Playgrounds are poorly managed and inspected in most cities and areas. Solution to this problem is to raise citizen awareness, include citizens to help. With Pi app, many parents and citizens in Croatia and worldwide would be able to identify the problems. They will be able to map the playground location with photos, and beside that, they will be able to score each playground by simply filling in the specially prepared safety checklist. So that would give each playground a safety rating, and then other parents and city workers that are also Pi users can view this data, advise children about hidden risks, and contribute to move local authorities to make positive action. For doing so, Pi users will get rewarded with Pi for discovering a new unmapped playground, and also get rewarded for submitting a new safety score for new playground. There will be also option to donate Pi to rewards pot to keep the rewards coming and support the Play Safe mission. The application itself should be placed inside the Pi apps folder inside your Pi node menu. So it will be easily accessible from every mobile phone, so you could directly use it on field. As a result, we would get low-risk, safer playgrounds, less heavy injuries and deaths. Happy children makes happy parents, and that makes happy city and happy whole community. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions or feedback you would like to send, you are welcome at madmax.pinetwork@gmail.com. Developers and everyone who wants to support development of this app is also welcome to contact me. Thank you very much, have a nice day, and let's all make Pi great together.
Bonjour tout le monde, je suis le pionnier Salade. Certains d'entre vous me connaissent déjà grâce à la chaîne YouTube que je gère et qui couvre l'actualité de Pi Network. C'est d'ailleurs pour cette raison que j'ai été choisi pour animer cette vidéo. Cette vidéo a pour but de vous présenter un projet concret géré par un groupe de pionniers français. Ce projet se nomme YouPi. Il a pour but la création d'une plateforme accessible aussi bien sur mobile que sur PC. Cette plateforme vous donnera accès à diverses possibilités pour utiliser la crypto-monnaie Pi. Vous trouverez sur cette plateforme des marketplaces pour vendre ou acheter des objets. Vous pourrez aussi participer à des enchères. Il y aura une partie dédiée à des petites annonces afin d'y proposer vos services, ainsi qu'une catégorie où vous trouverez divers jeux, concours et autres divertissements. Dans cette vidéo, 3 membres de l'équipe YouPi vont vous expliquer plus en détail l'avancement, mais aussi les principes de fonctionnement de la future plateforme YouPi. Pour rappel, le projet Pi Network est basé sur ce qu'on appelle le crowdsourcing. Il s'agit de s'appuyer sur les talents, les compétences, mais aussi le réseau de sa communauté, dans le but de bâtir le projet ensemble, d'un côté la core team et de l'autre côté la communauté des pionniers qui aident à la réussite du projet. Il faut savoir que les membres de l'équipe YouPi ne se connaissaient pas il y a encore quelques mois, et c'est l'application Pi Network qui a permis leur rencontre, notamment via le chat de l'application. Au fil du temps, ils ont uni leurs compétences et leur expérience pour bâtir ce projet YouPi qui est aujourd'hui en bonne voie d'avancement. Je vais désormais laisser la parole à l'initiateur de ce projet qui commencera par se présenter et vous expliquer comment il a connu la crypto-monnaie à ses tout débuts et comment il s'est particulièrement intéressé au projet Pi Network.
Bonjour à tous et merci à Salade d'animer notre contribution à la convention Pi. Je me présente rapidement. Je suis le pionnier Martin Def, modérateur sur Pi Network. Retraité après une longue carrière autour de l'informatique dans plusieurs grands groupes internationaux, je me suis intéressé au Bitcoin dès 2011, puis à plusieurs crypto-monnaies. J'ai étudié sérieusement la technologie blockchain et j'ai très vite pensé qu'elle avait le potentiel de révolutionner nos systèmes monétaires. Mais la complexité d'usage des cryptos m'a paru un obstacle difficile pour que ça se généralise au niveau de tout le monde. Alors, lorsque mon dernier fils m'a présenté Pi il y a plus d'1 an, j'ai été séduit par son objectif de simplicité et de généralisation et je me suis investi. L'important du projet Pi Network, ce n'est pas tellement la crypto Pi, mais beaucoup plus tout l'écosystème qu'il veut mettre en place avec la communauté d'échange la plus large possible. Échange de messages comme sur un réseau social, bien sûr, mais surtout, aussi et surtout des échanges de biens et de services. Le Pi n'est que la monnaie de ces échanges, un peu comme l'euro est la monnaie de l'économie européenne. Avec la particularité primordiale que permet la crypto-monnaie Pi, des échanges pair à pair, c'est-à-dire d'égal à égal ou de personne à personne, sans banque ni aucun intermédiaire d'aucune sorte pour les paiements. Alors, c'est pour ça qu'avec une équipe d'une bonne quinzaine de pionniers bien engagés, dont 6 à 8 développeurs et 3 ou 4 modérateurs, nous avons lancé le projet YouPi. Imaginez, sous la forme d'une application liée à Pi Network et accessible depuis votre smartphone, une sorte de centre commercial où l'on trouverait galeries marchandes avec des boutiques propres et des boutiques invitées extérieures, une salle de vente aux enchères, un site de petites annonces et d'autres salles de divertissement, salles de jeux, etc. Tout un écosystème dédié à Pi. C'est ce projet YouPi que nous voulons vous présenter ici.
Bonjour, je me présente, Blackhead68, à la base du projet et actuellement en charge du développement de la plateforme YouPi, plateforme candidatant pour une liaison et une connexion à Pi Network. De mon côté, je vais vous parler de l'aspect technique, de la sécurité des données et du partage des informations avec une application Pi Network. Bref, tout ce que nous ne voyons pas derrière une application.
Salut à tous, je suis le graphiste et le web designer qui s'occupera de toute la partie visuelle du projet YouPi, en partant de son logo jusqu'à la conception web en termes de design. Dans notre cas, YouPi se place comme une application dépendante et complémentaire à Pi Network. Au travers de notre plateforme, nous allons donc vous présenter de quelle manière une telle application peut interagir avec l'écosystème de Pi Network. L'application servirait donc de plateforme pour l'utilisation de Pi, au travers d'achats et de ventes d'objets ou de services et au travers de jeux en ligne. En termes de développement, la plateforme se base sur la technologie d'une progressive web app. C'est un site web avec tous les avantages d'une application mobile mais sans les contraintes. Commençons maintenant par la page d'inscription à la plateforme aux couleurs de Pi Network.
Dès l'arrivée sur notre plateforme, une liaison avec Pi Network est créée lors de l'inscription, qui est obligatoire pour accéder au site. Il sera demandé à chaque utilisateur de se connecter avec son compte Pi, ce qui nous permet de nous conformer avec l'orientation de la core team, un compte, un utilisateur. Ce système empêchera toute personne hors Pi Network d'accéder au contenu de la plateforme.
Une fois enregistré, une page d'accueil intuitive et se basant sur l'affichage de Pi Network vous permettra de naviguer entre les différentes parties de l'application.
Les paiements, que ce soit lors de ventes aux enchères ou de ventes directes, se font uniquement en Pi et par l'intermédiaire de la plateforme de transaction de Pi Network, que nous mettra à disposition la core team. Une redirection sera alors faite lors de l'achat de notre plateforme vers l'écosystème Pi Network, pour conserver une sécurité optimale en procédant seulement à des échanges entre utilisateurs certifiés Pi Network. Comme toute marketplace, des assurances et un service après-vente seront mis à disposition pour fournir les sécurités nécessaires.
En dehors des achats et des ventes, vos Pi pourront également être utilisés au travers de jeux en ligne et autres tournois seront organisés afin de donner une attractivité aux Pi. Différentes parties avec des mises et des gains différents pourront avoir lieu avec comme seul but remporter la partie et les Pi associés, quelle que soit la valeur du Pi. L'accès à des jeux en ligne permettra à l'utilisateur de générer des transactions de manière ludique.
Ces tournois et salons de jeu pourront avoir lieu avant même que Pi ait une valeur définie et concrète. Les paiements et distributions de gains seront dans ce cas automatiques et directement intégrés dans l'écosystème de Pi Network. En gros, en misant et en gagnant des Pi, vous serez dans les premiers à utiliser vos Pi et ainsi écrire les débuts de la blockchain Pi Network. Ce sera ce type de transactions qui permettront aux ordinateurs de les valider et de sécuriser une blockchain.
Maintenant, il va être question de sécurité lors de votre navigation sur notre plateforme. Plusieurs solutions garantissent un niveau optimal et seront accessibles via la page de profil utilisateur. Sur cette page, vous trouverez la preuve que votre compte Pi Network est bien associé à celui de notre plateforme. Il sera également affiché vos informations personnelles, adresse mail, nom, prénom, propres aux besoins de notre plateforme que vous aurez rentré lors de votre inscription. Ces informations seront et resteront confidentielles à notre plateforme et ne seront jamais divulguées, publiées aux autres utilisateurs. Concernant la sécurité de votre compte Pi et de son anonymat, il sera également possible d'utiliser un pseudo fictif. Pour vous donner un exemple, si Nicolas de la core team décide d'acheter une théière sur notre marketplace, mise en vente par le pilote Salad, il aura la possibilité de se créer un compte sous un nom masqué, tel que YouPi Member Jazz 682 par exemple, qui lui permettra d'interagir, poser des questions et d'acheter sa théière sans dévoiler son identité. Lors du paiement, Nicolas utilisera bien son compte Pi Network donc pour transférer les fonds. Notre plateforme interprétera le paiement comme un paiement provenant du compte de Nicolas et redirigera le paiement vers le compte du vendeur Salad, mais cette fois-ci en lui affichant le nom fictif YouPi Member Jazz 682. Il en sera de même pour les autres interactions entre utilisateurs. Ce système permettra à chaque pionnier de garder son anonymat, s'il le souhaite, entre Pi Network et notre plateforme.
Un compte de transfert appartenant à Pi Network, mais propre à notre plateforme, sera également mis en place. Ce compte se placera entre l'acheteur et le vendeur pour la marketplace et les différents joueurs pour les jeux en ligne. Au niveau de la marketplace, ce compte intermédiaire est nécessaire pour le fonctionnement d'un tel projet et rassurera toute personne voulant procéder à un paiement via notre plateforme. Toujours sur forme d'exemple, acheteur-vendeur, lorsqu'un pionnier utilisera ses Pi pour l'achat d'un bien ou d'un service, il transférera le montant de sa transaction au compte sécurisé de notre plateforme, appartenant bien sûr à l'écosystème Pi Network. Le vendeur sera alors informé de la réception des Pi sur le compte sécurisé, mais n'aura accès à cela seulement une fois l'acheteur bien livré de sa commande. Également, en cas de litige, les Pi seront gardés sécurisés entre le vendeur et l'acheteur et seront redistribués à qui de droit une fois le litige fermé. Dans notre cas, ces conditions seront stipulées dans les conditions générales de vente. Le dernier maillon de sécurité se trouve dans le processus de transfert en lui-même. En se basant comme application complémentaire à Pi Network, YouPi conserve toutes les sécurités de la blockchain Pi Network. Vérification des transactions par consensus des algorithmes, suivi des transactions, ainsi que l'encodage de toutes données. Il apparaît ainsi clairement que le projet Pi Network, qui se veut être une économie pair à pair la plus inclusive possible, pourra être mis en place grâce à YouPi.
J'ai introduit cette vidéo en vous expliquant l'importance de la communauté dans le projet Pi. Et ici, vous venez de voir ce qui ne pourrait jamais arriver dans la vie normale. Un informaticien retraité, un web designer dans la vie active et un étudiant en informatique qui ne se connaissaient pas il y a encore quelques mois. Aujourd'hui, ils unissent leurs forces, leur expérience et travaillent ensemble sur un même projet. C'est la magie de la communauté Pi Network. Dans le futur, il y aura ceux qui choisiront de dépenser leur Pi et ceux qui, comme l'équipe YouPi, choisiront d'en gagner, d'en récolter. C'est de ce principe d'offre et de demande que découlera la future valeur de Pi. C'est pourquoi je vous invite à réfléchir, si vous avez des projets en tête, si vous avez des idées concernant le Pi et son utilisation, à la façon dont vous pourriez les mettre en place. Bientôt, des millions de personnes posséderont et pourront dépenser du Pi. Des milliards de Pi seront en circulation. C'est une nouvelle économie qui s'ouvre avec toutes les opportunités que cela comporte. Et vous pourriez profiter de ces opportunités en étant un précurseur avec votre idée dans la façon d'utiliser le Pi. Par ailleurs, l'équipe YouPi est toujours à la recherche de web développeurs pour les aider dans leurs tâches. Donc si vous êtes motivé, si ce projet vous intéresse et surtout si vous maîtrisez certaines des compétences affichées à l'écran, n'hésitez pas à les contacter via ce mail. Cette vidéo prend fin, nous sommes contents d'avoir pu vous présenter ce projet YouPi grâce à la convention YouPi et surtout de vous avoir donné des perspectives concrètes concernant Pi Network et son utilisation. Pour ma part, je vous donne rendez-vous sur la chaîne YouTube Mineur de Pi pour suivre l'actualité de Pi Network. C'était Salade, l'équipe de YouPi se joint à moi pour vous souhaiter un bon minage et nous vous donnons rendez-vous à très vite sur le chat du Pi.
Hello, Pioneers!
I'm Messina.
And I'm Sally H.
Hello, everyone. The topic of today's speech is how to solve the KYC authentication problem. We have proposed a free solution, which is designed for Chinese mainland and present, and we can design solutions for other regions in the future. For discussion. At present, a real person KYC needs to pay a certain fee once, and it does not support ID card verification in some areas, especially in Chinese mainland. Therefore, we put forward a KYC solution, hoping to help the core team solve KYC verification problems. If possible, we are willing to develop third-party KYC verification software. Regarding the proposal, we mainly talk about 4 aspects: working principle, workflow and logical algorithm, verification fee and distribution, user privacy and security. Working principle of third-party KYC verification software, Pi Kyc. First, zero-knowledge proof. Second, decentralization. Advantages of Pi Kyc software verification. Completely free. Protect personal privacy. Random matching to avoid cheating. Distributed verification with high accuracy. According to the principle of security circle, 5 people are randomly selected as verifiers, and 3 of them are valid verifiers. Pi Kyc Verification Workflow. This is the KYC verification workflow chart, including the verification entry. I want to verify and become a verifier, a total of 3 large modules.
Verification process and logic algorithm. Next, let's look at the verification process and logical algorithm. First, look at the authentication portal. There are 2 authentication portals. One is to enter the authentication program from Profile, and the other is to enter the authentication program from the third-party application platform. Pi Kyc verification software is an independent third-party verification program. The verification data is completely open to the CT. How to be a verifier? We don't have a centralized verification agency. It's totally decentralized verification. So who can be the verifier? The verifier needs to meet the following 4 conditions. First, the verifier must be a Pi user. Second, the verifier must pass KYC. Third, the verifier must pass Alipay real-name authentication. Fourth, the core team finally determines who can become the verifier. I want KYC verification. If a pioneer wants to start KYC verification, he needs to fill in personal details and ID information first. The users will need to fill in ID information, Alipay account number and Pi username, personal basic information, which includes name, gender, email address, telephone number, and etc. The system randomly pops up 5 Alipay accounts. The prover adds 5 Alipay accounts as friends. Verifier working procedures. After the prover submits personal information, add the verifier as Alipay friend. After both parties become friends, the verifier confirms whether the prover is a real-name Alipay user and takes screenshots to save the evidence. Then, the verifier submits real-name information, and the system starts automatic verification. This verification principle is based on the zero-knowledge proof principle, and the prover only provides the minimum personal information, and the verifier can confirm whether the prover is a real person. The personal privacy of the prover is well protected. At the same time, all verifiers are the trailblazers of random matching of the system, which belongs to the distributed verification. Verifier screenshots the real name information of the prover. The picture on the left shows Alipay's real person user who have passed the real person authentication. The picture on the right is a non-Alipay real user who has not passed the real person authentication. Prover takes a screenshot of his real name information. The prover opens the Alipay real name verification center page, takes a screenshot, and sends it to the verifier. The verifier confirms that the prover has uploaded the ID card and passed the Alipay face swiping verification, indicating that it has passed. The verifier uploads the screenshot and the system automatically starts verification. This algorithm effectively prevents someone from buying someone else's ID card and bank card on the internet to pass the real name verification of Alipay. Brief introduction of Pi Kyc verification process. Prover provides his real name and ID information. Verifier submits information to determine whether prover has passed Alipay real person verification. The system automatically captures the screenshot information submitted by verifier and verifies it with the information submitted by prover. The system checks the information submitted by the first 3 verifiers. The basic logic is zero knowledge proof and decentralized KYC verification.
What is Alipay Real Person Authentication? Alipay, an independent third-party payment institution with 1.5 billion users worldwide. Alipay Real Person Authentication category: ID card recognition plus face recognition plus eye pattern recognition. ID card recognition plus on-bank card recognition. KYC verification fees the allocation. The prover P needs to pay 10 Pi once for successful verification. The top 3 verifiers who assisted the prover P to successfully verify were awarded 3 Pi, 2 Pi, and 2 Pi. The cost allocation needs to be approved by the core team, and it is currently pending. Data privacy and protection. The core team regularly samples and reviews data. Software source code uploading core team. After the mainnet goes online, we will delete our user data.
Thank you for watching. This is our KYC proposal. Welcome to discuss. Please correct if it is inappropriate. Thank you. Best wishes to all pioneers.